Hello, 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 hello! The time has come. Today I'm going to start reading New Moon. For those of you who haven't been following my channel or have missed the video that I posted a few weeks ago, I am rereading 10 years later the Twilight series. So far I've only read the first book, Twilight, and I'm gonna leave the link in the cards here or here. Here. It's amazing how I've been doing this for 4 years and I still don't know which side the cards show up. But I'm pretty sure it's this side. And just like in that video, I'm gonna read the whole book. I'm reading it on my reader. And then at the end of it, I'm also gonna watch the movie. What can I say about this project that I'm doing? Basically, I'm doing this in preparation for the new release that is coming out in August. We're nearly there, of Midnight Sun, which is basically Twilight but told from the POV of Edward. Now, do I need to read the entire series to read that one? No, probably reading Twilight is enough, given that it's the same story. But you know, I already wanted to revisit this series and these characters for so long, because basically this was the series that turned me into a reader, and it was part of my plans for super long now, rereading and rewatching all these books and movies. However, once Midnight Sun got announced, I knew immediately I had to do it straight away. Also, the rest of the world is also doing this. So my idea that was supposed to be fun and original is no longer fun and original. Anyway, you can hear more details about the introduction to this project, even though there's not really any introduction to this, on my first video. Like I said, it's going to be in the cards and in the description down below. Now, let's get started. I'm going to read a few chapters and then I'll basically check in every time something is happening and something interesting happens in the book. I don't know. We'll see how we go. Let's start reading.
Later that same evening.
How does one say this without sounding absolutely crazy? I finished New Moon. Which now means that this video is the most useless, most random, most unupdated reading vlog ever. Because I was supposed to read this along the days, chat to you on my opinions and my thoughts, and then I just read it all in one day. I don't know how that happened, but it happened. Basically, I was very busy the whole day and I had my headphones listening to the audiobook. And even though it's a 15 hours audiobook, again, how does one explain this without sounding absolutely mental? So let's talk about New Moon, shall we? This is the second book in the Twilight series, and spoiler alert, I'm gonna now talk about what happens in the book with a bunch of spoilers. But again, it's the same thing as the first book. It's been 10 years. Is anyone actually gonna be spoiled by what I'm about to say? I don't know. If you don't want to be spoiled, if you've managed to stay away from the spoilers of Twilight for 10 years and you want to keep doing that, then proceed at your own risk, proceed with caution. Consider yourself warned. There was a lot of things that I want to talk about this book and I just hope I don't forget to mention any of them. Let's go. In the beginning of the book is Bella's birthday. She's turning 18. Edward's family wants to throw a party because they never get to throw a birthday party for anyone, so they do that. Also, Bella is really upset. She really doesn't want to celebrate her birthday because she's getting older. Edward is 17 and she is now 18, so she's already 1 year older than him. So she's upset because of that. And we all know she wants to be a vampire, but that's for another story. So she doesn't want anyone celebrating. However, despite of that, Edward's family, especially Alice, still insists on throwing a birthday party. And in the evening, they go to their house, and this massive party, according to the descriptions, but also from what I remember from the movie, but I'm gonna watch the movie in a little bit, so stay put for that. But they throw this massive party with a huge birthday cake, and they set the party like it's gonna be for 30 people in there, but it's just 8 of them, 10, I don't know, whatever how many they are. The whole plot of this book basically starts happening when Bella is opening the birthday present and she cuts herself with the wrapping paper. Blood starts dripping from the cut and the vampires go crazy. And Jasper goes crazy because he's not used to deal with blood as easily as the other ones. So he goes crazy, tries to attack Bella, then like the entire house gets destroyed because they're fighting, and Carlisle is helping Bella, and then meanwhile she's pushed over a table, a glass table or something, so there's glass in her arm and it's a massive disgrace. And yes, straight away my first question regarding that is, have you ever had a paper cut? It sucks, it's horrible, it hurts like a mother. but it doesn't really drip blood. At least I've never had a paper cut that drips blood. It hurts, you can see it there, it hurts so intensely for a few seconds, and then for a few hours every time you touch it, if it reopens. I don't really want to talk about it. You all know how paper cuts work, right? But it doesn't drip blood. So basically the whole book starts in a premises that doesn't really happen in real life. But then again, we cannot really blame Stephanie Meyer because she's writing about vampires. So because of that, and because that event makes Edward realize how dangerous they are for her, they all decide to leave. I mean, Edward decides to leave and makes the entire family leave, and it's gonna be like they never existed. And then Bella spirals down this huge depression hole. It's a bit cringe when you read about it, but let's all take a step back and picture ourselves as a 17-year-old girl who the love of our life just broke up with us. It's terrible. It's terrible. Depression hits us all. Now, was her depression a bit exaggerated? Yes. I remember when I first read this book thinking that this depression was cool in the way that, how do I explain this? The depression kind of gave some purpose to her. Like, she started being really good at school and being really good at home, and then she got these projects and with the motor parks with Jacob. Yes, she was incredibly sad, but also it was like she was being incredibly productive. 15-year-old Manganet was like, yes! Which in a way kind of, it's a bit scary because, I mean, I have my head where it should be, I think. And I don't know, I've always been, I don't want to say a normal person because what's a normal person? Not me, certainly. But I've always been okay. But I can understand how people, if they have a more fragile mentality at 15, 16 years old when they're reading this, then having that thing about depression maybe is not the correct way. But at least, girl, you need to see what happens. Like, if the love of your life walks away, there's no point in being a book saying that you're going to be alright 2 weeks later because, when it's love, it's love. What am I saying? I don't know. Let's move on. Then obviously Bella starts this friendship with Jacob. And that's the friendship that helps her basically staying alive. Gives her a reason to be, makes her happy, helps her discovering her smile and her laugh again. And I do think that that is incredibly important. Again, in the perspective of a 15, 16-year-old person who's reading these books, it's important to know that some things in your life, they are gonna hurt and they're gonna send you down that hole, and you might stay in there for a long time and seem like there's no solution, the walls are too high around you and there's nothing you can possibly do to get out of that hole. But this friendship developed here in the book does show that there is hope, that things can change and you will be alright. So I did appreciate that friendship and the cute way on how they start finding things to do together, and they basically see each other every day, which at least when I was like 16 years old, that was my ultimate dream, was having that one friend that I could see every day, because at least I never had that. Not that I didn't have good friends when I was that age, but we didn't get to see each other every day. But then again, my friends back then, they were all go to school with me, so I would see them every day, Monday to Friday anyway. But I don't know, in the book it just seems cool because they go to each other's house all the time, they do their homework together, and it's just this different level of friendship that in the book it seems really cool. My main concern and my main complaint about this book, the second one in the series, is again regarding the relationship with Jacob. It does make Bella feel a bit like a bitch because, I mean, Bella, I love you, I relate to you, your awkwardness, I've spoke about that on my previous video. Girl, you have a spot in my heart, I'll forever love you. But girl, you were a bit of a bitch because the guy was falling in love with you and you were fine with that. Jacob starts obviously falling in love with Bella, and Bella, in a really selfish way, knows that, and she's okay with that because she knows that that friendship is helping her. So she's like, oh, it's okay, I'll just drag him on for a bit longer because I don't want to tell him straight away that I don't want him like that because it might ruin the friendship and I don't want to lose this friendship, so I'm just gonna pretend that I haven't noticed that he's falling in love with me. And that is mean, but then again, is it not accurate for a just turned 18 years old? I mean, Maybe for a 16-year-old, but for 18 it shouldn't be like that. I mean, later on, much later, Bella starts being this really annoying character. And again, I know most of you will argue,
Manganet, she didn't start being, she was always really annoying. You just didn't notice.
She starts having this speech to herself on how she has accepted that there will never be anyone else like Edward, and that she has accepted she'll never see him again, they won't have a life together, and maybe it's okay, maybe you'll always have that person that was not meant to be, but you will always love that person, even when you're much older, there will always be that person in your mind. All these quotation marks. And yes, I do think that is possible. I do think that we might have that one person, like the one who got away for us, but not at 18 years old, because, you know, it was her first boyfriend, and it's relatable and it's understandable, because our first love, especially if it breaks, it just seems like the end of the world, and it's horrible, and it seems like there will never be anyone else in this world who will love us as much as that person did, and our life is completely over, and why bother, why try ever again, let's just spiral down the depression hole once again and stay there, because it's comfy and it's fine, because no one will ever love us again, and I'm not open for any more relationships because I'm suffering with this one. We've all been there, right? We've all been that person who thinks the world is ending. It's relatable, but that speech, I don't know. I feel like Bella should have a bit more self-love. And yes, you spiral down the depression hole, you stay there for a bit, you cry, it's horrible, the world is ending. But then, girl, then you pick yourself up. Then you be like, fuck him, he doesn't love me, I don't need him, these two shall pass, I'll be fine, I'll find someone else, there's so many people out there, someone will love me, I will love myself, and you just basically become the love of your life. That's my advice for dealing with a broken heart. And I think that at 18 years old, you could probably already kind of have that mentality of you'll be fine and put yourself first, have a bit self-esteem and a bit of self-love. Question mark? What do you think? I think that by 18, it's reasonable to expect someone to have at least a little bit of self-esteem and self-love. But the worst of this book happens towards the end, when Edward comes back. There's all that scene and drama that Edward thought she was dead, so he was gonna kill himself with a Volturi, and they go to Italy, blah blah blah. Everyone knows that part of the story. So then they come back, the whole family goes back to live in the Cullens' house. By the way, can someone take me to that house? I really want a tour of that house. And then Bella just completely disregards Jacob straight away. Because Jacob, all that time when she went to Italy and whatever, he was worried with her. And he explained a bunch of times he was worried, but he couldn't be close to her because if vampires were back, then they had this treaty that they had to acknowledge, so he couldn't really do anything and be close to her, but he was worried with her and he still wanted to be friends and all that. And Bella was basically like, well, that's your problem. If you don't want to be my friend, then go away. It's like out of the sudden she decided to have self-love just because Edward is back, and it just made me feel so bad for Jacob, because he was in love with her, and obviously he was trying to get her heart, but at the same time he was just trying to be a good friend and be there for her, and Bella was just a bitch. Poor Jacob. I don't know how, but when I was 16 and I was reading this the first time, and there was all that thing, Team Jacob, Team Edward, and I remember thinking to myself, how can there be a competition? I mean, Edward, he's so cute and he says all these things to Bella and he loves her so much, and now I'm just like, oh my Manganet, you know nothing about life. So I just wanted to put my word out there that now, at 25 years old, I'm Team Jacob, because the poor little thing, he didn't deserve to be treated like she treated him. I was listening to the audiobook on that and I was just like, the poor Jacob, and I could feel my eyes burning with tears because I was feeling that scene so intensely. It really pains me on the inside. Oh, anyway, another thing that kind of bothers me, not as much, it's just a little detail, but in the beginning of the book, when they were leaving, obviously Edward was telling Bella a bunch of bullshit to explain why they were leaving, but obviously the main reason was something else, but he didn't want to tell her that, blah 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 blah. And one of the things he told her was that they needed to leave because every few years they needed to do that, because obviously they don't get old and then people will start notice. Super fair. And one of the things that he said was that Carlisle, who was 30, was now claiming to be 33, so soon people will start to realize that, and that's why they had to leave. But then at the end, they just come back, they go back to their lives, back to the house, back to their old jobs, and what? Out of the sudden, the age didn't matter? I mean, I know that was not the reason why they were leaving, but it's still a fair point. Did they just decided to ignore that? These were all my comments regarding the book. I might remember something else while I'm watching the movie, but I'm definitely looking forward to see the movie, especially because one of the things that I really remember from the movie was that scene where Bella was really depressed, and in the book it's just the pages, like each page has a month, like October, then the next page says November, then the next page says December. And in the movie, I remember Bella being seated in this chair in front of the window in her room, and the camera is just like going in circles around her, and the months are showing up, and there's a depressing song happening. And I remember really enjoying that scene, that song, and just the vibe of that scene. I remember loving that scene, and yes, it's probably like 10 seconds long, but I'm looking forward to see that. I'm looking forward to see the whole movie. Who am I trying to fool, you know? I'm gonna go to bed and I'll watch the movie in there. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the whole thing or fall asleep meanwhile, but tomorrow I shall come and update you. I'm not sure if you can see me because it's quite dark here, but I have my platter of fruit. Yes, I have one banana and I have peach, and I put cinnamon and maple syrup on the banana because it's quite soft and I don't really like the banana when it's like that, but yeah, anyway. And then I have New Moon on the TV. So let's go. I did it. I read a book. I watched the movie. Yesterday when I did my update of my thoughts on the book, I don't think I mentioned it, but I'm giving it a 4-star. Initially, like the first one, I had a 5-star on my Goodreads from years ago. Now I've reduced it to 4 stars. Is it a 4-star book, like in the actual sense of like if you read a book, is its quality enough for a 4-star? Probably not. However, just like on the first one, I cannot just simply ignore my feelings of nostalgia and going home and just revisiting the story and the characters. It's so awesome that I actually have to hold myself not to give it 5 stars. So I'm giving it 4. And that's as much as I'm willing to down my rating. 4 stars, I cannot go any lower than that. Regarding the movie, I'm getting really frustrated and it really annoys me at the acting on the movie, especially of Kristen Stewart. Like, girl, why does she not have any facial expressions? I honestly think that if the acting on Kristen Stewart was just slightly better, the movie could actually be cute. It's like a cute teenager story falling in love, but then she just ruins it with bad acting. And for some reason in this movie, I didn't really realize this on Twilight. Maybe it was there and I just didn't realize because of all the feelings. But I think it's one of those things that if it was as true there, I would have realized, because this is something that annoys me in life in general, which is people whispering. And I feel like on New Moon, Bella and Edward, whenever they talk to each other, they're always whispering. And they have the most weird and the most tense conversations. That's not how you talk with your boyfriend and girlfriend. When you're together, you relax, you're goofing around, you're having fun, and you just feel happy and good for being together, not just like, oh, I'm thinking this, but I don't want to say it because it might upset the other person, so I'm just gonna hold everything inside and be like, yeah, sure. That really annoyed me in this movie. The development of the relationship with Bella and Jacob is cute. Just like in the book, obviously, in the book it's cuter and better, but that's the usual. In the movie, there's this scene while they are working on the motorcycles. It's made to give you the impression of time passing and it's a bunch of days and it's good. But then pizza gets delivered to the garage and Bella goes and opens the box of pizza still on the delivery guy hand, grabs the pizza and throws it at Jacob. That while it's in the air, it transforms in a tool to fix the motorcycles, and that's the thing that he actually grabs. But the thing is, she threw a slice of pizza. Who does that? Would you throw a slice of pizza and then what? You just grab it and then like your hand goes off. Especially if you're working like in engines and things for the motorcycles. That was so random. Who makes these calls on cinema? I know nothing about cinema. Is this the director that decides, oh yeah, let's get Bella to throw a slice of pizza? Dude, no. No, that's not how pizza works. When Alice is at Bella's house and they are about to leave to go to Italy and save Edward, and Jacob is like kind of inside the car by the window on the driver's side and he's begging Bella not to go, it breaks my heart. He was literally like, Bella, don't go, stay for Charlie, for me. And Bella is just being a bitch and be like,
Bye, Jacob.
She doesn't even say sorry or anything, just bye. And he was so caring for her when she almost drowned and like she was shivering, and he was saying, come here, I'm warm, and they were hugging. And I'm not saying that I'd rather Bella to stay with Jacob. Maybe I do. But she's so mean to him. She's so mean to him. He cares about her so much and she doesn't care about anything. And then at the very end of the movie, Edward and Bella are driving together and Jacob is in the road and he wants to talk to them and he's really pissed off, and Bella says that sentence right at the end of the movie, which is, don't make me choose, because it will be him. It will always be him. 15-year-old me, when I heard that, I was like, oh, love. But like, you don't say that to someone who really cares about you. I don't know how to put this into words. I like the movie, obviously. I like the book. I like the characters. I like the story. But Bella is a bitch. Am I gonna read Eclipse, the third book? Yes, of course I am. Of course I am. But am I gonna do a video about that? I don't know. I guess that's up to you. You tell me. So do let me know in the comments if you'd like to see another of these videos for Eclipse, or if you no longer trust my video skills to do a video like this, because clearly I'm losing skills. I lose my skills when it comes to Twilight because the excitement just takes it over me. Anyway, that is it for today. Talk to me in the comments. Let me know in case you've reread Twilight or you're reading Twilight for the first time or something. Let me know if you've also reread New Moon or are going to. Let me know how's that going for you, and we're getting closer and closer for the release of Midnight Sun. Are you excited? I am so excited. Anyway, I'll see you soon. Bye!